Hey guys, I'm Thomas from bookbeam.io, and in this video we'll be talking all about the holiday sales rush and how you can take full advantage of it as a self-publisher. I'll actually share with you an 8-point checklist of different points, of different action steps that you can take to really position yourself to, benefit from this as much as you can. So the holiday time is a very crazy time when it comes to retail, when it comes to e-commerce. And if you're serious about your publishing business, it really makes a lot of sense to take advantage of it. Now, it starts usually around mid-November. I actually took a look at my KDP account for the previous years. How have the sales jumped up? When have they jumped up? Usually it's around mid-November. It can also be the second week of November when you start to see, really the sales start climbing and climbing. And mind you, this is for print books. This is which kind of format sees the heaviest increase. So yeah, the print books start seeing a pretty heavy increase in November, and you might ask, okay, how much is the increase? I looked that up as well, and usually it's around 3 to 3.5 times a normal month. A normal month might be September, July, whatever. I took that as a baseline, and then I calculated usually how much is the increase in November. So November, for my books, it's 3 to 3.5, and in December, wait for it, it is a whopping 6 to 6.5 to even 7. So that's an insane increase in sales. Times 7, what? That's huge. And that's also why I'm making this video, just because it's so huge. It makes sense to really, to plan for this accordingly. Now, and regarding the timing when this finishes, it's usually 20-ish December. Let's say 20, 21, 22, that's when things start to taper off. All that rush kind of starts to dry out. And 24, 25 December, it's like really dry. It's like crickets. There's nothing going on. That's because everybody is, celebrating Christmas around that time. And then, until the beginning of January, that's when things start picking back up and things are back to normal. You can see a slight increase sometimes, although it's not that noticeable. And that is because, a lot of people gift Amazon gift cards. And so, there's more spending going on in January. Now, those numbers that I mentioned, 3 to 3.5 in November and 6.5 to 7 in December will vary, of course. Those are just based on my book portfolio. It's a pretty large portfolio and I have multiple years of data. So it's somewhat solid, but just because, the niches are so vast and varied, your results might be totally different. It might be smaller. You might see a 5x increase for your print books, or it might be larger. You might see a 10x increase, which, is amazing. It's totally insane. And for digital books, it's not really such a big increase because it makes a lot of sense. Digital items aren't really that giftable. At least in our culture, they're not yet that giftable. It's easier to gift like a physical book. Here's your gift, wrap it, and whatnot. So print sales is where it's at. All right, so now with that said, let's dive into the 8-point checklist that I use for myself and that you can use to position yourself for maximum success. Point number 1 is plan ahead. I already touched on this before, just because this holiday time is such a impactful time in the Western world. It's totally crazy, the madness that happens during this holiday time, and so it makes a lot of sense to plan your publishing for this. So publish. What exactly does that mean? It is advisable to actually publish in summertime, midsummer, end of summer. Early autumn is still good, September, October already. Even in some cases, but that's already like really on the line, crossing the line, in some cases in November, if you publish in November. Why that is because the book, your products, these days really need some time to gain their rankings, to kind of establish themselves for the Amazon algorithm, to gain reviews, and so on and so forth, to really be able to take advantage of all that increased demand on the Amazon platform. So plan ahead. Point number 2 is publish in print. That's like must do if you want to really take advantage of this. And it's generally a very smart thing to do because it takes so much more effort to create your book, to create the content, than it takes to just convert it to print. You know, so much more effort, so much more creativity must be put into the content, the storyline if you're doing fiction, than it does to just like, you know, do all those technicalities to get it to be a print book. So that's converting the interior, converting the cover, and pretty much uploading it after that. The next 4 points are going to be optimization points. Point number 1 is make sure you have a really nice, attractive, good-looking cover. And why that is because all of these increased purchases will pretty much be gifts. They'll be gifted items, and people want to have like a nice gift, of course. Who doesn't, right? Who wants to give an ugly book from an unknown author? Let's put it like it is. Nobody. So that nice, attractive cover will really help you, because, you know, again, people want to give nice, attractive covers as gifts to their friends, to their relatives. So this makes a lot of sense. Not to mention the increase in click-through rate to your book's page, and then the conversion rate from browsing people to actual customers. All those numbers will increase with a great cover. So it's pretty much a no-brainer. And the cool thing about KDP Print is if you think you don't have a good cover right now, you can always, even for print books, you can always, you know, keep adjusting the covers without without removing your book, the previous version of your book from sale. And by the way, an important side note for these first points is I recommend that you start with the best-selling books first, because all the changes that you make, all the optimization that you make, will have the most impact on the books that are already doing the best in terms of sales and traffic. So all those tiny things that you do will have the most impact, especially in this holiday time. Point number 4, a very important one, is make sure you have at least a few good reviews. So that's 5 stars and 4 stars. The reason is very straightforward. People like social proof. Amazon has a good review system. They guard it very intensely, and so people trust reviews, and having a few of those stars next to your book will really help you to convert people who are browsing to buyers. Without that, it's just usually a lot harder. So those reviews go a long way in helping you, and so make sure you have a few good reviews for this holiday time. And as I mentioned before, that's why it makes a lot of sense to prepare and to publish in the summer period or early autumn, so your book has enough time to get reviews, among other things. Point number 5, make sure your description is a great one. This one, I found it doesn't have so much of a huge impact as some of the other points like the reviews or the cover, but still the description is a great shot at convincing the potential person who is browsing, convincing them what benefits are there for them in this book, how they will benefit from it. You can even be, a copywriting master and convince them, kind of paint the image of what their life will be like after they read this book and implement the benefits that are in there. Or for nonfiction, you can really convince them. You can really show them the exciting plot of the story that's waiting for them in the book. And so it's a great, relatively easy, low-cost way to, have another shot at increasing the conversion rate. Point number 6 is make sure you have an author page set up. And the reason for that is because people like to connect to other people. And, seeing that you're a person with a real story and you have something to share through your books, or alternatively, if you're publishing under a publishing company, you can, do a similar thing and just write about the writers and the illustrators that are part of the team, production team, and that you're really striving to create great stuff that helps people, that benefits people, or that entertains them, and that will also slightly help you in creating, first of all, a bond with your audience, and also converting them to customers, growing your customer base. All right, point number 7 is make sure you have your ads set up right, set up well, and make sure to monitor them closely over this holiday time. And the reason for that is because the economics, and that's largely what the Amazon advertising platform is based upon, the bidding system, and so on and so forth. The economics of sales on Amazon during this holiday time gets skewed way out of whack. So the demand may be at a certain level on a normal month. During this holiday time, the demand is times 5, times 10. Because people aren't so conservative about how they make their purchases. On a normal month, they would be looking at, do I need this? Is this good enough? So on and so forth. But in holiday time, it's just blinders on and everybody's buying left and right. I need 5 gifts for my uncle, 10 gifts for my auntie, and so on and so forth. And that's what skews the demand, and also makes all the data you may be working off of on your Amazon dashboard before in previous months, it makes a lot of the data you can throw it out the window, and it will look very different during Christmas time. Even some product targets or some keyword targets that may not have worked for you, that would have lost you money in normal months, may actually work for you on the holiday time because of this. So experiment, look at the numbers, and keep things fresh in your Amazon Marketing Services dashboard. We actually have a whole long-drawn tutorial about how to set up ads with a whole bunch of value, a whole bunch of tips on our channel. You can feel free to check that out. All right, checklist point number 8, and I do invite you and kindly ask you to be ethical with this. But what you can also do is you can adjust pricing, again, because people are not really that price sensitive during this holiday time. If again they might be price shopping in a normal period of time, they will be less price sensitive for those $1-2 that you may bump up your book. And it also might save you in those scenarios where you may have published a book in a niche that's a bit too crowded, a bit too competitive, and you may have had to lower your book's price to like $5 or $5.99, and in royalties you're making like 80 cents or $1, not really making the money back that you put in. This may be a good chance to make it back, to bump it up to $6.99, and be able to make it back. So that's another thing. Pricing is another thing that you can really play around with during this holiday time. So, all right, guys, those were the 8 checklist points that I do, that you should do to really take full advantage of the influx of sales and demand on Amazon. All right, quick recap. First of all, plan ahead, plan for this holiday sales rush. It's so significant that it makes sense to plan ahead for it. Publish in the summer, in September, August, maybe October. Point number 2, this is a must-have. Convert your digital book to print if you haven't already. It just makes sense all year round to do it, and especially so for this holiday time period. Then next 4 points, optimization points. Make sure you have a great, awesome cover. Make sure you have great reviews, 5-star reviews, 4-star reviews, at least a few. Having none will really, slow you down and keep your products, keep your books kind of weighed down. Then make sure you have a great description conveying the benefits of your book. Point number 6 is make sure your author page is set up. People like to connect with people. This will help you. Point number 7 is make sure your ads are set up right and monitor your ads during this time. Things change quite a bit. And last point is you can play around with pricing and see what that does for you, if it works or it doesn't work. Now, as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, please leave me a comment down below letting me know which of these elements you are already set on, which are covered well, and which you think you need to work on to make sure this holiday time for you is a success. And also another thing that you can do is you can grab the best-selling book marketing checklist. The link is down below. All you got to do is answer a couple of quick questions and we will send it to your email. That's all, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.